Welcome to Passportz Pagez. Today I am so excited because it's the first time that we're having a book review. So welcome here and thank you so much for being a member of Passportz Pagez. If you're still interested in going to Ghana, please apply quickly because it's going to be on a fast come fast serve basis, and we're going to have a very small exclusive group. And we do want people who represent different genders, different demographics, etc. So you do stand a chance. Let's get into the book. And I want to start by introducing Yaa Gyasi. So Yaa Gyasi is a Ghanaian-born author, brought up in the US. She visited Ghana for the very first time as a young adult, and at just 26 years of age, she wrote this book. I find that absolutely phenomenal that at just 26, she had the depth to write this kind of a layered book. She starts by pulling in a family tree, and I find it instructive that in the family tree, it starts with Mame. Mame means mom, mama. So I think subliminally she's telling us the root of every society is the mother. The book starts off with Efia, who was born in the musky heat of Fantiland on a day where there was a fire. And they then said that she became light-skinned and took the color of the ashes of that day, and therefore kept on being called Obroni. Obroni means the white man in Fanti. When Efia was born, she was raised by her stepmother, who was actually her father's wife because her mother was the housekeeper. An interesting twist that we don't get to see until the end of the first chapter, but I'm telling you first. When she was being raised by her stepmother, Baba was not very kind to her, and Efia was a difficult child as well. By the time she got to 12 years, she was a beauty, and all the village boys wanted her, and so gifts were flowing to the home. They were all waiting for her to become a woman, and then she would be married off. The soon-to-be chief, Abeku, was very interested in her, and that's who was her favorite. But her stepmother connived to make sure that this wasn't going to be, and she ended up being married to one of the colonial masters or the slavers, and she went to the Cape Coast Castle. Sadly, her father could do nothing about it, and neither could Abeku because of the connivance of her mother, Baba. In this first chapter, the first thing we recognize is that in the Cape Coast Castle, she was living in relative luxury, whereas in the dungeons, her fellow Africans were living there to be shipped off like goods to the Americas. Her sister Essie ended up in the dungeons and was shipped off to the US. This points to one of the thematic areas of the dichotomy of life and how one generation can be split apart into two different areas. So Effie ends up staying in the slave castle as one of the slavers, and Essie ends up being shipped off as a slave. I recognize also that one of the things that arises that the Cape Coast Castle becomes a very significant place. It's like the central theme of the book lies within the Cape Coast Castle and all the things that were happening in the different levels of the castle up to the point of no return. The things that come out also is of colonialism and complicity. Abeku was working with the slave masters to sell the slaves. The second thing that comes out is the power and gender. The men were making the big decisions, such as Abeku, Kobe, who was actually Efia's father. But the women also had a hand. Look at how much impact Baba had on Efia's life and on the destiny of that family as a woman in that home. It also comes into the issue of roots and separation, because in roots and separation, we talk about the two lineages. They were born of the same father, but Essie and Efia drift completely apart in different ways, fate being the main driver. You also notice the issue of power and gender, identity and belonging intertwined. Identity and belonging. Where is home? What makes a place home? Who is home? Is it a feeling? Is it a place? Is it a person? And I think these are the themes that we will interrogate as we go through the book. But as we part for today, I want you to know that the Fanti and the Ashanti are both sub-tribes of the Akan people. So anytime you hear of the Fanti or the Ashanti, always know that both of them are from the Akan main tribe. Another thing that's interesting, a fun fact for today, is that Efia is a Friday-born girl's name. So if you're a girl and you were born on a Friday, if you go to Ghana, you would be Efia. It's an interesting thing because there's a lot of qualities attributed to the day you were born. And so Efia is a peaceful, kind, nurturing, and sometimes mysterious or spiritually sensitive girl. And with that, we come to the end of today's review. We shall be going to chapter 2 next week. And I urge you to sign up as soon as possible if you haven't already done so, because we do want to build this community and enjoy reading, traveling, and just getting to know each other better. Bye-bye, and do enjoy your reading. Happy reading!